You got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but it's not limited to, good job, Landon. You put your phone down at perfect timing. You were on it, and then you knew it was coming to you. It hit you. It was like, holy shit, he's coming to me 100% of the time here.
Brother,
Kid is back.
I can listen to him speak, and I know when he's going to throw it, and I know when to put the phone down. You know, I'm ready. I'm locked in.
We are frozen.
Wave your hand.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, we're back.
All right,
we're back. Anyway, with the fourth place finisher in the WPT Seminole Hard Rock. What's poppin', Landy? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I feel like I went home. I did not professionally prepare for this trip.
What does that mean?
Like, okay, I get to Florida 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I spend time with my family, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to not play the main on day 1A because my family is in town, girlfriend is in town, it's first time meeting family.
Right.
I'm going to skip playing the main, the 3500 main, a great tournament to hang out with my family.
It's called life balance.
Who I love. And then on Saturday, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play from the start. And that didn't happen. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm having time with my family. I'm going to play this tournament at some point. I know this is going to be true. I'm going to get to the Airbnb and I'm staying at, and then I'm going to go register the tournament at some point. And then I did that after dinner break because I got in. I put all my stuff down. I was playing Magic the Gathering Arena with Nick Seward. I was reminiscing of old times. I was like, you know what? It's dinner break. I don't need to go to the Hard Rock and then wait 90 minutes and then go play for an hour.
Yeah.
So I'll just jump in after dinner break. It's fine. If I need to re-enter, there's still time to do that for 2 levels. And I played my bullet after dinner break. I didn't have to re-enter.
Very nice.
And then I scammed everybody for 4 days.
Nice.
Until
I scammed myself a little bit and ended with 4th place for 245. And the bank people will probably think I'm doing something shady in Florida because I keep showing up with checks to them saying, hey,
6-figure checks.
I keep coming back with more money from Florida. And they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I guess I play poker. And they're like, great, we'll take your money.
What would have to happen for you to ever miss a Florida event ever again?
Man, I don't know. I might only win in that building.
You've had a good run.
And I'm okay with that. Like in April, I got second for 550. And then I won the 10K in August for 250. And then I have gone back to the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana.
You're the equivalent of Ethereum when it comes to the side bet with Becker. You popped at the beginning, did nothing in the middle, and now you're popping again.
Yeah, it would have been honestly getting 4th for 245 would have been a great number for the crossbook because it caps out at 250. But you know what? Jeremy's had some great results too after the crossbook as well. He's won some Poker Go tournaments, made some deep runs. You know,
yeah.
Shout out to him. So
turns out you both are pretty good poker players.
It turns out we've both had a 7-figure year.
Awesome.
In recorded cashes.
Yeah.
Playing.
But you both lost during the series.
But we both lost.
You lost more.
I lost more than him during WSOP Summer, which makes me a loser, and that is how life works. And that's okay. You know, I showed up. Matt lost some money. Matt wants some money back. I get to give him some money. We're healing. Life goes on. I'm happy. Matt, are you happy?
Hell no, he's not happy.
He's been kind of grumpy for the last 2 or 3 days.
Tilted about this.
I wouldn't have been happy if you won. I mean, I would have been happier.
You've been loving it if I won.
Well, I would have been happier.
So you
winning wouldn't even have. You winning wouldn't even dented my fucking downswing.
You know, you have to understand. He has been he is salty.
No, I was in a good mood yesterday.
Yeah, but every time he thinks.
Day before though, not so much.
Every time he thinks about how much he wins when you win the tournament, He's just fucking sick to his stomach.
Yeah,
Why don't I have a bigger piece?
No, yeah, I don't. I'm out on backing deals. They're shit. They're shit. I have half of.
How many times have you said that in your lifetime?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm always on the wrong side. I've only been backed once, and I do a lot of backing. And I mean, the thing is, I've actually made a fair amount of money. Landon made me a pile. Jai made me a pile. Chin's made me money in the past. You cost me.
Sorry.
Yeah, you were expensive. Conrad's been expensive.
Wait a minute.
Whoa,
you would
what
have
happened?
had. Hold on. You would have had like a pretty reasonable piece if I won the tournament.
If
Don't,
you want,
don't forget your best horse, Matt.
yeah, that's true. Guapo in the prime,
Backing wise, I'm probably close to even,
buddy,
if not up.
buddy.
Backing for any events, I'm probably close to even, if not up.
All right. Well, indirectly, you cost me a lot of money one way or the other. I would not because the way this stupid deal works is you get all the fucking money.
No.
You pretty much get all the money.
No, let me talk to you.
No. The way it works is that
It's a standard backing deal. It's just
you're diluted. You're not like fully, but you're not risking that much either.
well, that's where we disagree. I'm still risking half of your buy-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
But I'm
you're
also-
risking half. Oh, for 25%.
Effectively, yeah.
But I also have a quarter of the deal too, so I still have skin in the game.
No, I'm not complaining about anything.
You're
Except
complaining.
I'm just saying.
You're miser.
Yeah, I'm definitely a miser.
You're miserly.
If you win a tournament for 660K and you're not in any makeup and I only get 150,000, something went wrong. I made a bad business deal somewhere.
what went wrong
But
is you
isn't
should have
that exactly how 25% works?
Yes, I understand.
You knew
how
that
it
going
works.
in. Like, did you not think like if he wins $1 million,
It's
I'll only get 25?
all it does is it keeps bringing me back to it just keeps bringing me back to how bad
Backing
makeup
deals?
deals are for both parties.
It's tough. It's tough,
right? Because it's like it's a double-edged sword or maybe a two-sided coin where it's like
I love it.
in one instance like your downside risk is protected by the makeup, but there's nothing that allows you to reach long term. At some point you reach a critical mass where you have to just cut ties and eat all the money.
I suppose it's also dependent on the average buy-in.
So, so like, just look at the framework of it. Basically, makeup is insurance against downside risk, right? And then it comes at a cost for you of being a very high interest loan. Maybe not high interest. That might not be the right. Yeah, I would say high interest loan, right?
Is it a high?
Yeah, you're paying 50%. I mean, you are only borrowing the money.
Well, I did have a quarter, so it might be a little bit different.
It's not different. You just
What is
become a backer and a player in the same instance,
so I'm
right?
kind of loaning from myself, though, so it makes it less high interest.
Yes, for a quarter of the
Yeah.
there's no interest on that quarter, but the other 75%, it's very high interest, right? So you're paying a lot of interest in order to have liquidity. You're giving up half of your equity just in order to have liquidity. But where you also gain, and this is like the part that I think people don't talk about, is that there is a number that makeup no longer provides any insurance to.
Like if I was $1 million in makeup.
Right. So at some point there is.
That's the shadow realm.
I mean, I don't know if it's $1 million, $5 million, 500K, whatever. But the point is that makeup is almost like a false bottom. So it's there to ensure downside risk. It's insurance against downside risk for the backer, right? It's basically the quote unquote interest that you have to pay. The issue is that it's only as good as your liquidity pool or the liquidity that you have available to loan out and the capability of your horse to earn it back, right? Because having a loan out that's high interest that will never be paid is equivalent to just lighting money on fire and torching it. So effectively, what ends up happening is makeup only insures some amount of the downside risk, and generally it's going to be downside risk that you're comfortable taking anyway as the backer, right?
So that's important though. Like makeup management for backers is very important. Like making sure that I'm not playing or going too deep into the hole where it's unrecoverable. Like call it previous stake.
It depends. Well, it just depends. It depends on what we view your win rate at, right? Like if we think that you're winning more than you're a risk, then the upside is asymmetric to the risk, right? And you don't mind going a little bit deeper, right? So if your win rate is high, that number gets bigger, assuming that I have liquidity available.
This is what makes doing backing deals, like called standard backing deals for 10Ks and 25Ks and plus so dangerous.
It's just bad for both parties.
So what do you think a better way to do it is? Sell at markup?
Yeah. Markup is much better. Small free rolls are much better for both sides. Because like effectively the framework of the way the backing deal works is that you benefit when you are in no makeup and when you are in endless amounts of makeup. Those are the two areas where you're basically getting free money. The backer benefits when you are in some makeup or when you're in, you know, no makeup, but now it comes at the cost of having to give up half the profits.
Right.
So effectively, like the upside is never that great for the backer, but his downside risk is somewhat protected if he really mitigates your action, which is bad for you. The whole purpose of being backed is to be able to put in massive amounts of volume. If the backer is like a miser and is like, no, we're going to play a very strict ABI of this, and on top of that, like, you know, you're going to have to do all these things to further curb your upside, like, you know, maybe selling your stack at ICM and things like that.
It feels like it doesn't feel great unless the backy like really binks something.
Well, that's the other side of it,
right?
When they rip off big scores,
right,
you lose them as a horse.
That is true too, right? But it's just like, but you get to sell off with a nice chunk of change, right? So it's kind of like
sort of it's going to be half of what you invested though, generally, unless it's like strung together,
right? But like if he wins the WPT championship for $5 million, you're not upset.
No, you're never upset.
You're never upset, but you're like, okay, it was probably worth it. When
everybody
everybody
enters backing deals understanding the risk reward profile.
Right.
It's just one of those deals where, you know, it's you can highlight a lot of negative points for both parties.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Like in the sense of if I was going to play the 10K championship and I could like not backed or whatever.
He's not sure if he's
like
playing or not.
On my
he's
own.
got stuff to do.
It's better for both people. Like let's say I could play an ABI on my own of 2K to sell 80% at 1 point whatever, because now you as the investor get to not need to take all of it, but take a piece that you're willing to take and pay the premium on it versus that interest loan.
Yeah. Assuming like markups are fair.
Right.
And this often happened. Like, you know, this is like the third or fourth different backing deal that I've been involved with you. And a lot of it is just managing your ABI. So anytime you're getting outside of that, you're selling. And oftentimes we wanted first right of refusal, because if the rate that you're selling at is fair or cheap,
man,
then we're recouping a lot there.
It feels so like weird, bad. And I guess this is just the personal thing of like selling to things to friends at markup, even if it's a justifiable one. You know, to me it's like, oh, like I don't want to charge my friends money that think that I'm good at poker.
But I think if it's a fair deal, then it's like you're just
win, right?
Yeah, you're just giving them like fair market value for an opportunity. They don't have to take it, right?
No,
it's just
of course
like,
not.
hey, here's what I think is fair market, or maybe slightly better than market value, and then they're actually getting a slight deal to have, you know, a sweat.
You just brick so much though, it like leaves a bad taste in someone that's buying markups.
But if you're selling to people that understand poker, they understand the risk.
The thing is, it's a market, and you'll get it elsewhere. So like, if you were just like posted anywhere, you'll get your markup.
Right. It just feels weird
like,
to like.
You're doing your friends a favor by giving it to
right. You're giving them the opportunity to buy into, like, if you had a company and you were like wanted to sell pieces of it, you wouldn't be like, I don't want to give them what it's worth. I want to give them, you know, like 20% less than what the value is. Like sell it to them like that. You would never do that.
Like Matt, like if I was going to ask you, like, would you rather like me sell to you at markups versus have a piece of a backing deal? At this point, you'd probably be like, selling at markup is better for me.
I think I would always prefer markup. Look, this is something that like I've put some thought into, but probably not deeply enough, because it's never affected me. I've never had to seek out a backing deal. I've only ever been the backer, and I'm pretty lazy with it because it's my friends. So it's just like, oh, if it's good for you and it's not terrible for me, then like seems like
it's not invasive.
Right. It seems like a pretty good thing to get involved in. But you know, I've spoken to enough sharp people who actually are doing this. We had Derek Walters on at one point, and he spoke pretty in depth about this. Really good guy, I think, to tap into this sort of thing of like what is good, bad, or indifferent about backing deals. I think everybody sharp, him, Seaver, and others have really spoken out that like makeup deals are just bad for both parties.
And selling at markup is better.
Probably, but there's a lot of intricacies to why that's bad, right? It's the you have to create a market every single time you want to play. Then you have to hustle to collect the money. You have to pay out to many, many, many different places. That creates a bit of a tax burden.
It is tilt.
At the end of, like, there's a lot of reasons why you're willing to give a little bit up one way or the other just to have somebody,
a peace of mind,
have a sugar daddy that's just going to be there, doling out the bricks. But yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's the correct way to look at it because of the way that makeup works. But effectively, when you're out of makeup, we're buying at 1.5. Right. Like you're basically getting a 50% free roll, right? When you're in makeup, we might be buying at a discount. So when it's all said and done, like maybe those numbers average out to a true markup number. I'm not really sure. I'd have to like model it and do some deeper work on it. But I think just generally the most problematic aspect of makeup deals is the inability to ever reach the long term. So
long term being
like real volume, like true data samples, specifically live, right? Yeah. So it's really not possible. So the risk profile of the entire entity is just naturally very high. And that's why I was discouraging you from selling your stack, because I could be wrong. And you talked to a lot of sharp people that were kind of on your side.
There's a civil war. Or just war because it's people from different across the pond.
I think it's something. Yes, I think it's something.
It's 1776 all over again.
Yeah, I think it's something we could talk about maybe with a little scheduling next week, and get some sharper people than me to discuss it. But my stance is that because you can never reach the long term, when outlier opportunities present themselves, you shouldn't be cashing out. I don't think you want to de-risk.
I have a stance.
Go on.
You spent the last fucking year studying the last final 2 tables.
Yeah.
And then you go to sell the action when you get there.
Yeah, I did. But like, I could have got ace king versus aces. Like
that would never happen.
I'm just saying that was my
lose
stance.
A flip final 2 tables and then never realize
that was my stance. I'm just saying.
Who would have thought that the most risk-on people in the room would say to keep the action? That was a real shocker.
I'm just saying.
Real shocker, Mr. Oh, like I have 155K the survivor pick. It's a lot of money. Like let's just we'll see what happens.
I'm just saying. I would have studied earlier.
It's also just like you don't want to chase pennies over dollars, right? Like you sold a quarter, but at the end of the day, that was only going to be a difference of, if you underperformed to ICM, it was going to be a difference of like 15, 20K, which is nice.
But that's not backer related. That's like pocketed, right?
Yeah, but it's small. It's very small numbers when you're playing for 660K.
Did you under or overperformed for what you?
I overperformed slightly. Yeah. I sold my stack.
Finished one place better
at 5.5 place.
Oh,
so if I got 5th place, I would have made ICM buyers more money. If I got 4th, more. So I overperformed barely because I scammed Francis when I had 3 bigs.
Yeah. That was a super scam.
Me not getting 5th was a scam.
That's scammy.
So they're happy, but again, it's one of those things where maybe there's a de-risking process, like way to go about it, where like I know my net worth, right, and I know like pocketing that money, even if it doesn't go to plan, and I get called 15th or 6th, like worst case scenario, because there's a jump from 16 to 15. I get 16th for 49K. I still get to keep money, and I've increased my overall net worth by X%. And like, is that worth it? And I guess that's just a personal decision of like, okay, if you have,
I don't think that's. I mean, personally, and this might just be a philosophy thing. I don't know that this is a hardcore math thing, but I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. Like, increasing your net worth by 3% when you're worth 100K is not the same as increasing your net worth by 3% when you're worth 100 million. Yeah. Like the utility of $3,000 versus the utility of $3 million or $30 million rather is very, very different.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can necessarily look at it that way. it's really about the utility of the money. So in this instance, like say you bust immediately and get 15th and you get to pocket an extra 20K. It's like, okay, that's awesome. You got to make 20K in a spot where like otherwise you would have just been out of makeup. But assuming that you are doing pretty well, which you've had a good year, and I know that you are, the 20K probably just doesn't do much, like utility wise.
Yeah,
compared to having an extra quarter of yourself.
Again, I guess when it comes to me knowing that I have like player piece of the backing deal, the stake had a ton of equity in the tournament remaining.
You're not diluting yourself to zero.
Right. So I think in my brain, it's like, okay, I can lock up just 20K. And if I have a great result, like let's just say I win the tournament for 660, I still get a lot of the piece of the pie there.
Right.
And if I got unlucky and coolered and scammed or whatever, like didn't get to win hands, I still get to keep some money for myself and get out of makeup and have that.
All these are very fair points.
Because it's not like I just get that 20K and that's it, you know?
Well,
if I busted.
What do you mean by that?
Like I would have made, the stake would have made money. I would have pocketed money. And I still had a lot of gamble on the final two table by having 70% equity.
You're just saying that you still have stake, like you still have.
Like I still have a lot of skin in the game by having 70% of the stack.
Right.
Final two tables.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being too rigid with the way I view it, but it's like, from my vantage point, that probably shouldn't matter. Like, whether it's a good idea or not, I think you just look at the extreme cases of like, well, what if I sold it all? Versus like, what if I sold zero?
I would have never. I guess I would have never sold it all.
Of course.
That's just the thought process.
That's the way I would model things like this, though. Is like, if we go to the full extreme, is like, are we incentivized to sell it all here? And if the answer is zero, then it's just a matter of like, okay, well, what is driving us to de-risk here? Because like, I think Sam and I were in the same camp with Survivor of like why we didn't de-risk when the team was worth 150, and it was just simply that the upside was so asymmetric, right? It's like every 1% that we have at that point is worth $1,500, but the asymmetric upside of that 1% is worth 150K.
Yeah, like best case scenario, you
win the tournament, right? So it's like the risking 1,500 to potentially win 150K.
No, it was 14 million first.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
it was like 14.6.
I was thinking 4. Yeah, no, yeah, right. No, you're right. Yeah. So it was 10x.
I guess again when it comes
100x.
Or 100x.
100x, but it's up to you. But when it comes to like,
but eventually that number would change, right? Eventually, like the team would be worth like $1 million, and now we're like, well, 1% is worth 10K.
Right. All of a sudden, the downside starts.
Exactly.
It becomes greater.
Now it becomes a potential de-risking, and of course, like this, you're right. Like this comes back to like risk profiles. Like $1,000 doesn't mean very much to Sam and I. $10,000 is going to mean more. $100,000 is going to mean significantly more. So like the points at which we de-risk are going to be very different.
I think that exactly. I think everybody's points are different, and I guess to the curse, like blessing and curse of barber conversation we had when I was kind of over it of like, okay, I guess everyone's just a 6 sun runner and like life is what it is. It's like when you get into like the sun run
opportunity, then you have a $250,000 score.
Yeah, and then it's just like, okay, like I got lucky, I got chosen again, and maybe like selling all of the like piece that I had as investor side versus just backing. Maybe it was better to like sell 10 at final two tables, and then at FT I would have been 2 of 6, and that would have been a good spot to sell because my stack was worth roughly second place money.
Yeah. My thought process, like when I was talking about this, it's probably wrong completely, but it was like, you know, you only get so many chances in this spot, and when you are financially secure, like this is such a huge upside. There's such a huge upside here. So like, if you are financially secure, it's so hard to like, you know, sell it. I feel like
I agree with Conrad.
If you need the money to pay rent, then it's different.
It's a different story.
Yes, I agree.
Actually, hold on. I'm sorry. It is a different story, but I still think there's probably more reason to keep the fucking piece if you needed to.
You're irresponsible though.
I guess that's the thing is like there's an in between of like responsible and irresponsible, and I think I might lean overly conservative potentially. Talking to other people about selling versus not selling, they thought it was sharp for me to sell some.
The problem that I have is that there was already so much de-risking that took place
because of the pay jumps that I already got.
No. You've already capped your ABI, right? That's a form of de-risking. Anything over the ABI to a certain degree, you're going to sell off pre-registration, right? So you've already de-risked how much you're going to invest into any
Isn't
one.
that independent of the situation?
I don't think so.
Like
I don't think so because like
Yeah.
when you look at the overall scope of his career, like what it is that he aims to do, everything is you're afforded X amount of opportunities throughout a career, right? So this particular opportunity is under the constraints of a backing deal that has a capped ABI that has already swapped out like 15% of the overall, spot that he's in. Like there have been so many de-risking metrics that have already taken place prior to making that deep run. I think that like to further de-risk is that, whereas like Conrad's point is like, if you're not backed, you're on your own. This is 100% your returns. Now all of a sudden de-risking makes a lot of sense because you forewent all of those other de-risking processes to begin with, getting backed,
like
swapping out, selling action. Like
it's
all
like if
those
you have
things.
10K to your name and you play the whole thing on your own dime, like you've made a terrible decision and it's worked out for you and you should do something
Now
about it.
you can correct for that, right? But if the opposite is true, where you have $100,000 and you're backed, putting up 25% risk, and you've already capped the ABI, and you've already swapped out 15% with 5 other good players in order to ensure that like your variance lowers or your volatility in any one single event lowers, to further de-risk now whenever there's real money to play for. Like to Conrad's point, it kind of dilutes a little bit of the hard work that you put in.
I guess the way that I see it when it comes to stack value and this, that, the other, is my stack value when I sold was like 155K. And it's like the stake would have never played a tournament with the buy-in of 155K.
I don't think that's the proper way to look at it. Because one, you're already guaranteed 50. So it's only 100K delta. 2, you're not buying in with that money, right? You've already earned that money.
You've earned it, but you didn't get to collect it.
It's unrealized equity. So you're not buying into a new tournament from scratch, right? You're buying into, like by your metric, you're buying into an already down to less than 1% of the field with the ICM model in place where you are a favorite.
Yeah, well, selling the ICM is trying to realize unrealized gains.
Right, but the other aspect of the model is that like you're a favorite to do all of these things. Like you're a favorite to finish 5th, and then like you're also a favorite to finish 6th, 7th,
Which I guess in my brain, right, the stack was 10 of 16 with 30 bigs. Like I'm getting 3.5 or 4.5 jumps from what the stack is worth with 30 bigs. Like
sure, but
that's
by that,
a lot, right?
but
like
by
30
that,
bigs, you just lose it all in.
But like, why wouldn't you just sell it all?
Because I think that there is that upside of like the ROI that like I'm probably outperforming the model, but I don't. It's a very rare opportunity that I still have a lot of risk on from the stake having
I guess
as much equity
that's
as
ultimately
it does.
where we just disagree. Like I don't see you having any risk. You just have unrealized gains that you're risking.
Which is in my brain, like, okay, like you basically have 155K, you should probably do something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't like look to exit Bitcoin at 20K because it might go to like if somebody offered me 15% markup on Bitcoin at 20K, I wouldn't just be like assuming I could never buy in again.
Right, but when Bitcoin
like it's just finite.
But when it becomes like such a big percentage of your net worth, you it's irresponsible not to de-risk and take some profits. I think. In investing in general.
Again, it's
right?
not exiting all of it. It's just some percent. Like I think you're looking at it as an all or nothing.
Right.
It's like it's a good
No, you
spot
wouldn't sell all of
to
it.
fully exit,
Right.
or a good spot to not exit at all. Where I'm seeing it is like, okay, like there's probably some
You've
value
already exited half.
from the backing deal.
Yeah.
But I have a quarter of that back of the investor side, so I didn't exit half.
You've exited
25%.
No, 38.5%.
Right. So if I have, call it 60%, and the stack is worth relatively close to something that resembles like my net worth overall, I should probably sell some. Right?
I guess I just like disagree because like you're valuing it at the 150K, but you already don't have 100% of that 150K. You have 60 of it.
That's what he said, 60%.
Right. So it's like you're making decisions on 150K worth, but you only have 60% of that 150K worth. So like the max you could even cash out is like 85K.
Right.
Right. And now you're just only taking a fraction of that. So it was the same situation with Survivor. Like you could break it down to each single percentage point, but it's like for Sam, he had 11% of a 150K team. So his ceiling at that point is like, 16.5K. Obviously, let it ride. The upside to this is 1.6 million. It's not even really close.
Yeah.
And even in my spot where it's like I have half, it's like currently I'm risking 80,000, 75,000, something like that. But the upside is somewhere in the neighborhood of 7.5 million.
It's just
The upside
odd.
gets you on the Bahamas or it gets you on an island somewhere where we never see you.
Shut it all down, baby.
Like part of the survivorship ish, I suppose, is like even in April when I was F2T, I was having these conversations like kind of too late to have them, but early before day 4 started. The stack value was worth like 220 or something like this with final 2 tables left. And the pay jumps were like pretty absurd, all intents and purposes. And I was like, I think the stake should sell some. And then like Andy Wilson, Bowie was like, no, like you're too good in this field with everyone else left that selling is a bad idea because you're going to outperform the number that the ICM says you're going to get. And I was concerned because I'm like, am I kind of like torching it by not doing something here because our stake is 100%? And then he's saying like the stake itself, like from the investor side, has theoretically enough money to withstand the risk that the stack is worth. Right. He said selling is a bad idea. And honestly, looking at the people left at 16 left, selling would have been a bad idea.
Did you sell at ICM value or higher?
I sold at face. I could have sold to some people at markup, but I didn't do that.
Because like obviously there's also a number where you can sell it where it would make sense.
Like the markup number.
Yeah, like right, of course, yeah.
Would be worth
like if you think you're getting a really good deal, then it would be dumb not to.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case.
It still comes down to utility. Because even like in Bowie's instance, or the example you're giving, it's like, sure, all that can be true, but we're talking about like edge cases. It's never going to be worth that much, and it's never going to cost you that much. Like if you felt the final 16 of this scenario was like super tough, whereas like the final 16 of the other one was super soft, we're talking about like 1% one way or the other. Yeah, as far as like your expectation
in
goes.
April, it was the final 2 tables was much softer than this time.
Right, but you're not listening to me. It's not going to ever be that big of a difference in your bottom line. There's just way too much variance in tournament play. Right. And like, I think a lot of people, and again, maybe this is just being particular about like verbiage, but you don't actually lower your variance by selling. You lower your volatility in that single event in that you lock up money, but the variance is fixed. You're going to flip the same way you would flip if you didn't sell. You're going to run ace, king, and aces the same way you would if you didn't sell. It's just the downside risk when that happens is slightly less.
I think some of the people I have talked to about this would disagree about the variance decrease when you sell.
The variance is of the event. It's not of the payout.
It decreases.
The payout doesn't change. You just flatten it. All selling does is flatten the payout structure.
Is that not decreasing the
decreases
variance of
the
your
volatility
score?
Of the single event, but there isn't any more luck factor reduced?
No.
Right? So variance is luck. Luck does not change when you sell off.
What's the difference between volatility and variance?
Volatility is the risk reward profile. Your risk goes down, your reward goes down, right? You're just smoothing out the curve of where you finish, monetarily speaking, not place-wise. The place that you finish in will still be very, very, very risk on.
What do you consider the difference between best finish and worst finish?
What do you mean?
Is that variance or volatility? Placing 16, like if my stack is worth 5th and half place, what's getting 16th versus getting first? What's that delta? Is that variance or volatility?
Oh, you mean like the distribution of that?
Yes.
I would. Well, it's variance, but selling off doesn't change that. The distribution stays the same whether you sell or you don't. That's my point. You finish first as often as you would if you sold or didn't sell. You finish 16th as often as you would whether you sold or didn't sell. It doesn't make a difference.
Right, but
it's the payouts that change. You've flattened the jumps.
And you're saying you don't want to do that when you have the ability to sustain if you get 16th.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to money utility, right? Like, so this might be more of a philosophical problem than a math one. Initially, I thought it was just like a simple math problem because from my vantage point, you've already taken so many de-risking metrics into consideration that to further de-risk when you're on your upside seems problematic. It seems like if you always did this, if you always like sold off 25% every single time you got to final two tables, short term, you would probably, well, I guess short term, you would realize your expectation more. So from that vantage point, I can see the argument. I guess I never really thought of it that way. So I think that's a really good way of making your case.
Isn't there an argument for long term though? Because
there is no long term. That's the big thing. He never gets to, and that was my argument against selling, is that you never reach the long term.
Yes.
So since you never reach the long term, whenever you have these situations, I think it's more impactful to try to hit the extremes. Like you can just be the lucky player. You can just be Jason Mercier, you know? But I think the counterpoint to that is like not everybody gets to be Jason Mercier.
Well, that's the thing.
So
is
actually realizing
Jason,
your long-term gains in the short term is
for
better.
every Jason, there's a lot of people that have gotten 16th in the spot over and over again, 15th, 14th, 13th.
Yeah,
and it's
I
like,
agree.
oh, I was one score away and I was
Brewer.
one all in away. It was like Brewer before Brewer won all the
Right,
all-ins.
yeah.
Like that happens to most people because most people aren't the lucky person. And I guess part of the like call it big conversation with me, like you and Barber and us, is that most of the time you are not the lucky person. And then you saying, oh, it is me, I am the lucky person, is kind of just like hubris.
No. That's
Like-
it's can you take on the risk? Like, can you afford to take the risk to be the outlier? Because the upside gain compounds. Winning the tournament and getting to keep all of it is a compounding thing because you have more
It's different if you have-
utility with the money.
Like if I had $10 million or whatever, like I wouldn't sell at ICM.
Right.
If that makes sense. So like it's really just a difference of what you're saying.
Yeah, and also if it was the main event, selling at ICM would be, nobody would argue against it, right? So you can just look at all the other extremes. And the big reason is because the utility of selling now greatly increases your ability to not be backed moving forward.
Because it is a once
which was
in a
already
lifetime.
right? So like that's like the other aspect of the risk management profile here is that with upside comes other compounding effects. If you win it outright and you didn't sell any, now you have like an extra 150K in your pocket. That could be the difference between being backed moving forward or not, which now is the difference between having an additional 50% equity on every event that you enter versus not, right? And these are big factors, I guess, but I'm completely off of believing that this was just a very cut and dry math model. I initially, like Guapo said, isn't this just like a risk profile thing? And I kind of pushed back and said, no, I think it's like a pretty cut and dry math thing because from my perspective, you've already de-risked. But I'm back on the side of it's definitely just a risk management thing because if you go to the extremes and like, you know, we're playing something where it's 100 million up top and you're guaranteed, you know, 80K, but you could sell at 5 million valuation, like you're going to just do that. And you should do that because it's responsible.
When's the next time you're going to make $5 million or have a stack that's worth that much?
But just more importantly, you're realizing unrealized gains now. So basically you're forcing the long term to be realized in the short term.
Yeah, like maybe
that's the strongest argument in my opinion for selling.
Yeah, like maybe the best thing to do is like sell some amount if I needed to or not needed to, and then if I got to 2 of 6, sell now because 25% of a stack that's worth 410K would be close to doubling net worth. And you can do a lot with the 100K and still have the equity of winning
still
the
having
tournament.
skin in the game. Yeah. I'm fully on board.
It just depends on when you sell and how much will this...
This is definitely a philosophical conversation, not as much of a math one.
Yeah,
as
if
I
you doubled up in the
initially
first
thought.
hand, you would never sell.
Right.
First hand of the tournament.
That's a
you double
great
up, you're not gonna sell.
that's a great example. Like if you doubled up in the tournament, somebody would give you 1.5 extra
All right,
stack.
de-risk
price.
now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you would never do that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it would be fun to kind of dig into it a little bit deeper with some people who've maybe modeled this kind of stuff. Like, I really do think Derek's one of the sharpest out there when it comes to Derek Walters. Just when it comes to overall backing in general, when it comes to setting prices for markup, the entire tournament market as a whole. We're just like learning so much more day over day.
Yeah. It's hard to, at least in the sense of trying to find ways to personally be responsible, knowing how high variance tournament poker is. Does that make sense? Like,
I think that's another thing that was like driving my argument is like you knew what you signed up for when you decided to be a tournament pro.
yeah.
The idea that like you want to win less every time that you run deep in something to me was just like, what are we doing here,
Well,
man?
it's not really win less. It's just like, oh, this is worth a lot right now. I know how fast this goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So I want to realize the unrealized gains because 155K, it's 16 left for 30 bigs seems like a lot.
Yes, that's all very true, but you do cap your upside, right?
You don't get to keep as much money when you win.
You just, when I say you cap your upside, I mean that you realize your true ROI much
Yeah.
more often.
What
you
if-
never get to be outside of it.
Not to keep this conversation going on, but what if this was like it was a 10x spot, right? So this was the championship event of the WPT. It's pretty much the same situation. Maybe it's gonna be 6 million to first or something like that instead of 600,000. And there was 12 left.
And the stack value is worth 1.5 million.
Yeah,
I would probably have to sell a little bit. 1.5 million
because it's the same situation. It's just
my equity,
10x
like my personal
the
equity would
spot.
probably be like 4 to 5 times my net worth.
Right.
Where it's like if I can just cash some of this out now, maybe not all of it, but a good amount of it, I get to be off stake if I want to.
I think I was selfishly
and
looking at it through the backer's lens. We just never want to de-risk because we've already given up half.
The backer has theoretically infinite money that wants to take on max variance. 'cause they
Even
can-
if we don't have infinite money, we've already given up half.
yeah.
So it's like,
honestly, when I was looking at numbers, I stressed myself out before. I'm like, wait a minute, how do I owe all this here? And I was forgetting about the player piece. I was like, oh, you have to divide this by 2. And I was like, I do have money for this now. Okay. I was like, whoa, where'd all this money come from? I can't just print more. I'm not the Fed.
yeah, well, we could try.
I tried. Me and Seminole Hard Rock, I guess it's pretty close.
Well, let's try to move it to Vegas because you're going to need to do some work to win this player of the year.
I know, dude. I get
Any
money.
cash, assuming Afrat doesn't cash, will get you into third.
Really?
Any cash.
How many points do I get?
You're
for
50
cash?
points behind. A cash is worth 150.
Any cash with 150 points?
Any cash, but there's only 3 qualifying events. It's the Prime, the Main, and the 25K Alpha 8.
Oh, so I get to play that now because I might get some rebate.
I mean, it's only a 5K rebate, but sure, yeah, you could.
Well, I
make
could
that
win
case,
Player of the Year.
which is a 15K rebate.
Yeah.
But you need to finish 4th or better in any one of those 3 events without somebody above you.
Where you see, how do I get to Player of the Year? I need to get 4th or better.
4th or better in any one of the 3 qualifiers.
What is this point system? This point system is absurd.
Well, it's based off a prize pool.
Okay.
I could be wrong about the 150 points just for cashing anything, but we looked at the actual prize pools of the events that you're playing.
It's just
but there's
fun,
a huge
yeah.
gap between you and the winner.
Between myself and UNQ at the moment.
Yeah, so you
Yeah, he was anti-sweating me winning. I would have been first.
right. So you have 1,700 points. He has 2,200. Like it's the 575 gap is pretty large, but whether it's 50 points or sorry, whether it's 75 points, 100 points, 150 points for cashing, I don't know. I
have
just
to
know
cash
it's
and
more
he
than
does.
50.
Yeah.
So as long as you cash one of the 3 and Afrat doesn't, you will you'll move above him into third and
Yep.
get that 5K rebate. But to get ahead of Dylan, it must not be 150 because you wouldn't have surpassed Dylan. So
Yeah,
it must
maybe
be
it's
like
100,
70. It must be 75 or 100
Yeah.
to min cash. But yeah, if you like cash all 3 and Dylan bricks, you can get all the way up to second.
He wasn't even going to go to Vegas, and now he has no
Perfect.
choice.
Oh, that's a shame.
Because he wins for winning the tournament, you get a seat to the 10K for not for free, but added to the prize pool for the winner is that 10K
Oh,
seat.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Dude, 2 chances to get us an extra 10K.
I did, and
Fuck, that's good.
yeah. When will it end? Yeah, I think we've learned a lot here today, and I was thinking about this because if I had more money, I would not sell. And it's just a matter of how
Right.
much does money mean, or like, is it important to lock up money?
Yeah, if you got
and,
$1
like,
million in the bank, you're like, I'm not.
Man,
exactly.
It's so crazy. If
I'm just trying to be smart, man. I
no,
don't want to
no,
be
no.
dumb.
I'm changing.
I
I'm
don't-
changing the subject.
I know.
If the audience had to tell me, do you think Brian is wearing jeans or sweatpants right now?
Let's see.
Because I see with my eyes what you have on, and then I look at the monitor.
It looks so different, doesn't it?
So like Landon's shirt is navy blue in the monitor. His shirt is charcoal in real life, and Brian is not wearing denim. Those are gray sweatpants.
Yep.
They look
Sweatpants season.
They look blue as midnight.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to. All right.
These are
Guapo, we have a.
These are designer, Burke.
Sure.
No. These are Viore.
To be fair,
I don't know what
everyone's
it
shots
means.
were a little weird. Your shot was even a little strange.
Yeah, my
today,
lighting
too.
was off. We're gonna have to tinker with some stuff after today's show. All right, let's get on with it.
We have a show today.
I mean, we're almost done.
I know.
Let's get to what everybody came here for and do a little Weekend Warrior wrap up.
Connie, do you want to?
It's time. It's time.
I thought there was an-
Oh boy, from the depths of hell, I'm getting rocked. It's all been, personal, a little splurge here. Just try to put the babies to sleep.
Uh-huh.
I kind of fucked up a little bit. It's all right, because I'm getting
Should
back
we,
on the horse.
Should we look at the tally?
I mean, we can.
Or do you even?
You know what? Just throw up the tally.
Is it too painful?
Just throw up the tally. All right, looks like Platt's back in the lead, 2,500. Berkey's right behind, $100 behind. I'm right there too. So it's three-way race. Guapo, $20 at a time.
You guys
he's
had
around there.
so much money.
Well, Landon, you've never had money. Hanks is back from
Wow,
hell.
back to even.
When did that happen?
$1,000.
That's the true
Incredible.
story there.
Landon Hunt Tortoise, you
boy.
guys are down
boy.
bad. Have you guys even seen a plus?
Steady, slow and steady. That's what we do.
To zero?
Yeah.
Slow
and steady, straight to
Whatever.
zero.
Let's talk about it. Let's see what everybody's going to do this week. Berkey, what do you got for me?
I threw together a banger here last minute, and I'm falling victim to the what I consider to be bad team syndrome.
Okay.
I really went hard last week. I'm so close, man. All I had to do was follow through with my Freiermuth touchdown instead of fucking Mike Williams, who hasn't been on the field in 3 weeks. But I digress. So I really went for it today.
Okay.
I think the Browns just absolutely stink. We're 6.5 point favorites, so obviously I'm going Steelers with the spread. I think Naj is going to eat.
125.
I think Naj is going to eat.
125. This guy.
That's rushing plus receiving.
So
Relax.
Okay.
It's plus rushing plus receiving.
That's still a lot, but yeah.
I think we're going to do it. I got Jameis throwing another pick six. I don't think the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is going to deliver him from the pick six evil just yet.
Oh my God, you're betting against fucking Jameis Winston?
No, wait. You didn't bet against pick six. You just bet against he throws up one pick.
Yeah, but he's been throwing.
I wish I would have saw that on there.
Nobody bets against.
I would have threw that on mine.
It was a big cost. It was expensive to add.
It's a very weird, random game when he doesn't throw an interception.
Agreed.
Imagine betting against the Lord himself.
You know that he's one of like 8 quarterbacks ever to throw for 5,000 yards in a season. He's like the only one on the entire list that's not a Hall of Famer. And in that season, he threw 30 touchdowns, Conrad.
How many picks?
He's also on another list of the only quarterback ever
30-30 club?
to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions.
That's pretty sick.
30-30 club.
Just insanity.
I see him.
The guy likes to fling the ball around. Let's be honest. He's fun to watch.
It's truly crazy. It's truly crazy that we lost last time. If it weren't for that goddamn blizzard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
10 interceptions.
What do you
Steelers
mean?
roll.
They love to play in the snow.
They do, but like not against a bad team. You want to play a good team.
really
You want to play
evens
a
it
good
up.
team in the snow. All right, so that's my pick to click. I'm risking 370 to win 3,500.
Pick six.
Wow, that's well, might as well go straight to me because mine's kind of similar to yours, except I de-risked. Mine's not as risky as yours.
What you got?
I got a four pick parlay. Same game parlay as always. Shocker, it's the Steelers.
I feel like this should pay 10 to 1.
I mean, I don't think so, man, because these are all pretty safe picks. I mean, getting the Steelers minus 6.5 because I saw it at 7 some other places, so I thought 6.5 was great. You got to get off that. That's a very important number. And then we got Jaylen Warren rushing plus receiving 50. That seems very doable. As in, he's gonna get a 25 rushing yards.
Here comes the
20.
cope.
He's going to get. I think he's going to end up with the 75.
It's raining from the heavens.
70,
It's all over.
At least 75.
I will say
total yards.
there's a good chance he just breaks off
Right?
a screen pass for 50.
George Pickens. I mean, he eats now with Russ there, right? So that's 50 is very doable, and then 200 yards for Mr. Chef himself.
Nothing
Russ
makes me
is cooking.
happier than listening to you two idiots put fucking Pittsburgh Steelers bets in every week.
I'm just saying.
125 yards from Najee over there.
That
Like,
was ambitious. I think it was
My
a little ambitious,
God.
just because he doesn't catch the ball a lot, right? I mean, like Warren is the
Yeah,
pass.
Warren, yeah.
Warren's the pass catching receiver, or rusher. So I think that's a pretty good pick. It's safe from what I've been doing. I've been trying to 20x it. Hasn't been working. So we're gonna do a little 3.35x and get back on track.
To be quite honest with you, I think the dumbest thing here is just betting against Jameis Winston.
I didn't bet against
Okay,
him.
we're good.
The man just
We're
cooks.
good.
I didn't.
The man
We're
just,
fucking-
we got it.
we
the
are
man
so good.
just
Yeah.
cooks.
We are so good.
Night night, kids.
Tell us more.
Cooks.
The man just
Don't
cooks.
argue with him. Let him
I know.
talk. Tell us more, Conrad. Tell us about how
ahead,
you're on
Connie,
the
tell him.
Browns.
I'm
Go
all
all
in.
in on the Browns, please.
No, I got a way better pick than that. But Landon, tell him what you're working with.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Oh my God, go Birds.
Birds.
Oh,
minus
this was
13.
this was gonna be our famous Week 14 pick that we had been saving up all season for in Survivor.
The Eagles
The Eagles
versus
versus the Panthers.
Carolina. That's
Saquon.
interesting.
By the way, we would still be in.
I know. I was
If
gonna say
anybody
that.
cares, we
Yes.
would have went Denver last week. We would have went Green Bay
Bay.
on Thanksgiving. So we would still be here, and we would be taking the Birds this week.
For what it's worth, most of the pool is still in, yeah? Like from
No,
that when
like
we
almost,
busted.
almost nobody busted since.
right.
Yeah.
So us and everyone else.
Yeah.
But still.
all right, all right.
So you have Birds. What do we got
Birds
here?
minus 13.
How much you
Minus
betting?
13.
$50.
Boring.
okay.
What you got with Guapo?
Guapo, we got a little spicy.
Yeah.
We bet
Taking a shot this
$66.
50,
Look what he's
look
working
at
with
this.
today.
Plus
two,
11.
Two out of these three
Whoa.
fighters
Hello.
are from the mountains of Dagestan and
Oh, wow.
Kazakhstan.
That's-
Hell
those are
yeah,
good
we
ones.
love to hear that.
That's a
Berkey's
lot.
been there.
Yeah.
The flyer here is Kron Gracie. The last name Gracie is because his father is Hickson Gracie, the guy that
Not
kind
Royce
of just
Gracie?
revolutionized the whole thing. He's going up against Bryce Mitchell, who is also a really good BJJ guy. So if they turn it into a wrestling match, I like my chances. So we'll see what happens.
So is a 3-leg parlay. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty good.
This is
You wanna-
Guapo's first 10-1 for the year.
Guapo's making a move. I like it.
While we're just to briefly interrupt because obviously I'm still mourning our loss in
BSA?
Survivor, but I also want to get this out there because we had planned for this. I was diligent about trying to keep the Eagles for Week 14. I just looked at the EV calculator. They're the only team that's making money this week.
Yeah.
Plus 115. Everybody else sub 1.
That means one thing and one thing only.
Pain.
Panthers money line this week.
How does this relate to your philosophy of
Is that what you're taking? The Panthers money line?
No, I got something a little bit better. That was only like plus 525. I couldn't really fuck with something like that. You know what I mean, boy? So
It needs
going.
like plus 1800.
Listen, kids, I'm going for the true scam. I saw this earlier in the week, and it was plus 2,500. And I was like, man, I really want to take this. I put it in the chat, and then I was like, fuck it. You know what? I looked back. I was like, it's plus 1,800. It's dropping. I'm hoping for the scam when it comes down to it. I'm hoping that the Heisman Trophy
What do we got
pickers-
here?
I have Aston Genty to win the Heisman Trophy. Boise State running back. He has over 2,200 yards, about 2,300.
He's 18-1 to win.
Yes, but he's actually now 13-1. So the odds are dropping in my favor.
Okay.
It was 2,500 to 1 on last Sunday.
Sean Perry style.
You know what I mean? So
Closing line value.
we
Conrad
shall
missed
see.
it.
I got in the middle.
What is it now?
It's 1,300 now.
So
So
you
I
got
got,
at 18.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was 24.
it was way higher than that a couple days before that.
I'm guessing you're going to
But-
put real money on this.
Nah.
Too late.
No. Oh, yeah, definitely too late now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm hoping that the people that picked this award are absolutely screwed Travis Hunter. He's not the best player at either position, but he's a really fucking good player all around. And Aston Genty's doing something that, 6 people have done before him? So we'll see. I don't know. I like it, though.
I don't like that we have to sweat a Conrad. Here's the thing. That bet needs to be subtracted from your total. in case you go broke in the meantime.
It's this
What?
weekend. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, Heisman's this weekend?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Why would he bet something
I would
that's
never
like,
bet
like 4
anything.
weeks into the future?
Because
Why
we
not?
we
You
talked.
get- yeah, we said that you
We
could.
talked about futures, and you can do them, but if you hit 0 while waiting for a future, you're considered busted.
I missed that conversation, but sure.
You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you can't just hold it for the 2 years from now.
I understand, right?
Yeah,
Of course.
that was my
Okay,
point.
But yeah, he's
Like
right.
I don't want you to
He's right.
double use that
This
money.
is championship weekend, so it's this weekend.
Okay.
But
I thought Heisman's were like close to New Year.
I mean, it is
With, like
it's
bowl season.
It is bowl season. Everything's over. Or it's not bowl
What?
season, but
Championship
it's championship week.
Yeah, bowls don't start till after Christmas.
I mean, well, they don't include the bowl games for Heisman, so or the championship game.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that. I just didn't think that.
I don't know. Everything's different this year with the playoffs.
I feel like this is really early for Heisman. I don't know why. I thought it was like February.
Maybe I'm not really quite sure. But running through the rest of the picks, who we got first,
I'll
Guapo?
let you guess whose picks these are.
All right. Put fucking Hunt's soccer game up there. All right, there we go. We have Hunt's soccer game. He is betting 52, win 188.
How excited is he not to be in last?
He has the over in Manchester United and Nottingham.
The turnover at the bottom has been fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
Hank's down to his last breath, just Creed style, just
Max
found a
Payne.
way to hold on.
I think this is him.
Oh, Hanks is trying to get back in there. What do we got here?
Old man.
Oh, whoa. This looks like a teaser.
Everything's a teaser
the
with him.
tantalizing
5-team teaser. He's betting 100 to win 340. He has the Vikings plus a half a point.
See?
Tampa Bay minus a half. Bengals plus a half. Steelers -1. And the Seahawks plus 8.5.
He's
God bless him.
He's wising up.
I was
Wait,
going to say, I think
not
Ephraim
with
would
his-
approve of this one.
What's that?
I think Ephraim would approve of at least the way that he moved the numbers.
Yeah, for sure. But also he's not like firing half his bankroll now again.
Well, he doesn't have to anymore.
But I'm saying the first week of the whole thing, he fired half.
Platt got everybody like off to he set the wrong tone.
Yeah, when he went like 600 in the very first
Guapo
week.
was the only one who
400.
saw through it and didn't follow suit.
Right.
Platt's like, I'm gonna pick a banger pick that never fucking loses. I'm gonna spend half my bankroll, and these idiots are all gonna start firing off 500
Right.
every single week.
I never did that.
Sure enough, the bottom hit the bottom.
I just lost every week.
Sure enough, everybody that fired, 2 out of the 3 are in the top 3.
Yeah,
buddy.
Berkey hit a
Speaking
60,
of-
I don't know what
60
you're
to 1
talking
shot.
Connie, it looks
I'm
like
gonna
we
tell
have our
you.
leader up on the board right now.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Mr. Jeff Platt. He has taken Clemson +2. Who are they playing? Oh,
Southern
SMU.
Methodist.
Wow, you playing a bunch of meth heads? That's why. That's why
Okay,
he's
so
going
he's still
Clemson.
betting,
What
but
are
he has,
you
he has the
talking
bankroll
about?
to do
SMU
it.
is sick this year.
Southern meth.
They're very good. It's Methodist,
Oh, I didn't know that.
not meth heads.
Oh, I thought it was Southern meth heads. My bad.
I like our spot here versus Platt. SMU's playing
You always
for
think this.
SMU's good. They're playing for a playoff spot. I think they have 1 loss, but there's a good chance they get left out if they don't win this game.
I think
They do get
UNLV
left
gets a
out.
playoff spot if they beat Boise
They do.
State.
They do.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think it's automatic.
Yeah, it is.
It's the
I think it's
winner.
only the Power Fives.
I'm
No,
almost.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure
you might be
it's
right.
conference.
You might be right. They
100%
still get in,
sure.
but
I'm pretty sure their conference gets an automatic.
Like
bid.
Mountain West.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mountain West gets in.
UNLV playoff.
okay.
So they have
I
a
didn't think that
chance.
It
was
might be
true,
part
but-
of the Power 5.
Yeah.
What are the
How
Power
expensive
5?
are those tickets to go
ACC,
watch
SEC,
UNLV game?
Big 10, Big 12.
Mountain West.
Does the Big 12 still exist?
I think so.
Oh yeah. Pac-10 doesn't.
Right. Pac-10 is now the Big 10.
Plus.
Pac-10 plus.
Big 10 plus.
Yeah, they can't be the Big 10 anymore. There's 36 teams in the fucking.
Well, you can't change the branding. Big 10
Right.
is a brand.
Right.
Yeah.
They haven't been 10 teams.
They didn't
for-
think that through
They haven't,
very
been,
well.
they haven't been 10 teams for a couple decades.
So they
Yeah,
get the
they didn't think
12th.
that through
They'll
very
get the 12th
They get the
seed.
12th seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And then-
UNLV.
yeah.
If they beat Boise State.
It's ACC Big 10. I like how there's Big 10 and Big 12. Like, where do you come up with this?
Neither one of them have anywhere
Why are they
near
big?
They used
10
to
or
be.
12
There used to
teams.
be how many teams were actually in the conference, and then it was.
But why are they both big? You know, why
It's like
can't
the Big 10.
What are
like,
you going to be, the little 10?
Yeah.
no? But like Big 10, Big 12. Like, why are there? I feel like we need other like ACC, SEC.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The Big 12 definitely should have been the huge 12, just like aligned with all the Texas schools.
there used to be-
Oh,
it used-
we're bigger out here, goddamn.
Well, it
We're
used
the
to be-
enormous 12.
It used to be Pac-12.
Gargantuan 12.
No, Pac-10.
It used to be Pac-10 and Big 12.
Yes. Pac-10 was a different conference. That was like the West Coast Conference.
Right,
It's
and
like
they
USC,
Pacific-
Washington.
rescinded
It
that.
was the Pacific Coast Conference.
Oh, it split up. They basically went to the Big 10 and Big 12.
Wait, wasn't
And-
it the Pac-12?
I thought it was Pac-10.
I think it's
Might
Big
be
10 and
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Pac-12,
Maybe it was
Big
Pac-12.
10.
That
Maybe
sounds
the
more
Pac
right.
is the one that was just like.
I thought it was the Pac-10 too.
No, I think
I think they're right. I think
You know
it's
what?
the
It might have been the
Pac-12.
Pac-10 and then went to and then
What's
added two
going
teams,
on
made
here?
it the Pac-12.
Yeah, could be.
My God.
Some-
This is
Something the
worse
Big-
than we were
something
talking
the
about
Big Ten
state
could not
capitals,
do.
man. That was
Quick,
absurd.
Arkansas,
Razorbacks.
Little Rock.
Little Rock. Is
Oh,
it?
not Razorbacks?
It's
Do
Little
we think
Rock.
it's Little Rock?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let it fly. I don't-
Aurora for Colorado really
Hey,
got me,
while
man.
we're in the mood, while we're in the
Geography streets.
the betting mood, I went to the doctors today for the first time and got weighed for about the first.
Can I go first?
I think it was the first time since I've been there last, which was February. Yeah. What
I'm
do you
going to
think?
set the line at 187.
187.
Under.
Lower.
Berkey says lower.
187. I'm going
That's a bad line.
No, it's a good line.
194.
It's not a terrible line, but it's a.
Guapo, bro. He goes, no, it's not.
Conrad said
Nuh-uh.
194.
I'm going to say like 182.
Okay, so
Where's this
he's saying
crooked?
lower. I think
I'm
I
saying
think,
lower.
I think a proper line for you would have. Again, Guapo's close, but I think like 184.5 would be a good line. Yeah, but it's a
2.5
bit
pounds and it's a bad line.
because he's not 200 pounds.
Okay,
Right,
I said
like-
Okay,
187.
wait. Let's just stop right there. I got weighed 200 pounds.
Yes, I knew it.
You
I
fat
fucking
fuck.
knew it.
The fucking dot.
I fucking knew
I just
it.
had to start.
Well, hold on a
He's
second.
not 200 pounds. It's exactly.
Hold on a second. Hold on a
The
second.
total guy,
I
because
wear-
he has a
listen,
shell.
I wear it well.
He has a-
I weigh
wear it well.
180 and
The
he's
thing is
stockier
when
than
you
me.
guys don't understand how fucking massive my muscles are.
Also,
Right?
when you get weighed at the doctor's office, you got all your clothes on and shit. You got your cell
I didn't
phone in
have
your
this
pocket.
hoodie on, but I did have my shoes and my
That's
phone
so
in my pocket.
funny.
So take all that away and
192.
what? No, I have 8 pounds of fucking equipment on me.
man.
What the fuck am I doing? here?
Shoes,
But he
clothes.
did have
196, 195 at best. This is probably-
best.
At best. Right. You strip me down. I'm like I'm a solid 195.
The
196.
solid is fucking debatable, big
Correct.
guy.
Correct.
Okay, you.
This is true. Listen,
should not be 200
here's-
pounds.
Right. I'm
I'm 200 pounds.
I tell you what, I got a lot of muscle on
You're
me, but
not
I have
200
way
pounds.
too much fat.
I
So here's what
tell
we're gonna
you
do.
what.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to continue to keep the muscle, but we're going to strip at least 20 to 25 pounds
25
in 6 months.
Your
Okay.
TRT trend.
I'm going to try to do it in 6 months, and then also
How do you know how much muscle you have?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
Here comes Anavar.
I want to at least keep or increase the muscle I have. Probably increase.
That's
and
really hard to
and
do.
get down to under 180. So get into the 170s.
185, I think, is like a pretty good target for you.
Yeah.
Oh, are you 5'9", 5'10"?
5'10".
Okay,
With
yeah.
shoes on.
I think like over 185 is
Thick turtle.
problematic unless you're going to start some drugs, in which case now we're talking.
You're saying under 185.
No, I'm saying over.
If you're over, it's a problem.
It's you being 200 pounds is insane.
Oh, I know. Right.
I even think like 190 is like
No, I know. I
Kind
know.
of a
That's what I'm
chonky
saying.
turtle.
You said that you said 185 is doable.
yeah, but I'm saying like I think that should be like the upper
Wait a
limit
minute.
of what you're shooting
That's
for.
nuts.
Oh.
Matt,
Oh,
I-
right. I'm shooting. No, yeah.
That's why I said I thought a good line
I
was like
thought-
184 and a half
I thought
because I
you were-
think you could.
I thought
think
you were saying I should shoot for 185.
No,
Wait.
well, yeah, sure, fine. I think you could, but my point was, I said I thought the line should be
Wait a
184 and a
minute.
half
The
because I
turtle-
think you could be anywhere from like 170 to like at most 190. Like you being 200 is
dude, I'm 215.
Insane.
shocking to me.
I'm 215.
I'm like
Shocking-
202.
Dude, it was shocking
Guys.
to me. I knew that I probably since the summer, since I was in the better shape, I thought that I probably was like one.
Do you actually
190.
carry your belly like Santa Claus? Like, do you ever just grab the
That's
sides
not that much
it?
of a belly.
That's a
I mean,
big turtle.
I got, you know what I got?
Yeah.
I got an ass.
You guys
I
know
got
how
an ass.
He's got a
I got a
wagon.
solid ass. That's
I
what it
fucking
is.
picked
It's
that
all
shit.
in the ass.
The turtle's out here doing hip
I'll let
bridges
you.
for days.
Listen, after we get off air, I'll leave.
Will you start some drugs? Is that an option for you? Will you start some test?
Some what?
Some test?
What do you mean test?
Testosterone?
Oh no,
Why not?
I produce that shit unnaturally.
Do you? You have no idea.
Yeah. Actually, I'm getting labs next week, so I'll find.
Okay, so when it comes back in the 200s.
Actually, no.
He's not in the 200s.
Bro, he's 200
Tortoise is going
pounds.
to come in like a 375.
I got testosterone tested, hormone tested last time I got, and it was like, I think it was like 450.
Oh, yeah. You're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like lower bound of your age bracket.
You're 15
No,
pounds
it's not the
lighter
lower
than
bound
me?
of my age
That's
bracket.
fine.
Lower
I was
bound
gonna
of
say
like
that's-
what would be considered like good.
Oh,
How old are you, Tortoise? 42?
Lower bound is 0. Like what are you?
I'm saying what the average is.
What is the
You
average?
don't want to consider what the average is. The average person's unhealthy.
Oh, that's
right,
true.
But I'm saying
That's
yes,
very
I'm
true.
above average.
Okay, but
okay,
like
you're less fat than everyone else.
right, like you're picking a data set where it's like, hey, 85% of this data is disqualified, but guess what? I'm better than that.
And I don't think that's I'm talking about average.
Matt's
I'm talking
qualifying
about-
healthy
right.
people, though.
Yeah, if you chose the subset of people that you would want to live a life
Okay,
like,
so you're saying
the
I'm a
lower
healthy
bound.
person.
Yes, you're the lower bound.
You're the
I would
lower
say.
bound,
Lower bound of a healthy
It's
person.
like being Jameis Winston. You're the best, worst quarterback.
Exactly. Now you get it. You get it. But like, yeah, I mean, like,
Thick
honestly,
turtle.
I
200
I
pounds?
feel like I need to step on a different scale because maybe that one was broken.
I agree.
You broke it.
I was shocked. Listen, I knew that when you like, there's no. I knew I
he
was
stepped
gonna-
on it and it was just like, get off me.
No, it was funny because I stepped on it.
It made a sound.
You know, because it's like it's the doctor's. You know, it's not digital. It's like the old school. So like they push it to 150, and then
just
she goes,
bottoms out.
and then she goes-
Crunch.
and she's going, and she went to like what she probably thought I weighed, and which was like she stopped at like the 30, and it's like nope. Up to the 40, nope. And then all the way to the end, and it didn't go. It's
So
like
you're 201, maybe.
no, because then she put it down over to the 200, all the way to 0, and it went.
Dead center.
Yeah.
Wow, this
Like it
was the best-
started to like move.
This was the best question you could have
It's
ever asked on the podcast.
Truly incredible that those are the scales that they still fucking
I
use.
know, right? Like, how are we not using digital?
It's like having an abacus in a math class.
Right,
Like,
right.
get
Insane.
a fucking calculator. What are you
Insane.
doing?
I
You
have a
call-
real-
you
I have
call
a real
me
quick
fat.
question.
Yes.
In terms of our bet, come January 1st, do you guys want me to just like step on a scale at home? Because
Go to Brian's doctor.
Just bring a scale in here.
Go to Brian's doctor.
How about this? How about this, Guapo?
Actually, if you go to his office.
I trust you.
Brian's doctor. That's where you're going.
Guapo,
I got $1,000 on this. You go to Brian's doctor. That's where you're going.
That's amazing.
Guapo, my concern is that you're going to do everything in your power to weigh as little as possible. So if you're taking a video of you stepping on a digital scale, I don't want to see brain.
No, you won't. I'm respectful.
All right, what are you going to tuck it?
No, I think if
Duct
I
tape
wear-
has weight too,
I think
you know, man.
Even if I wear chonies, I'll be okay.
Okay.
Brian's
okay.
doctor. Brian's doctor. I have too much money.
I
know
think
this is
even
like charity
with my
work.
doctor, I think Guapo's going to be safe. This guy's going to be down at like 160.
Did you consider the $1,000 that you were torching whenever you were de-risking for the WPT?
I consider that charity work. You know, it's part of the tithe that I pay to be able to have good fortune come to me.
right.
I think
You know-
Guapo said he accepts Bitcoin. So if you want to pay him in
that's right.
Bitcoin,
I ain't paying nobody in Bitcoin.
I'll let you guys buy out if you want.
No.
If Berkey just wants to give me pain.
Yeah,
'cause
of
it's
course
only
not. You have a
$300.
month left. Fucking
so
star.
you think he's not? You think you're alive in this bet?
No,
No,
I
not
just
that.
don't
He
want
just
him
wants
to
to give
eat
me
for the
max
next
pain for
30
another
days.
4 weeks.
This is like when he bet. No, you know what? I'm just returning the goodwill you gave me for the mile bet to Guapo.
Oh, that was
You
bad.
gave me free money. You said I couldn't run a mile in 7 minutes, and I ran it in 5:48.
I was shocked.
I'm like a gazelle.
He hadn't done anything cardiovascular, maybe in his entire fucking life. There's no way he's ever ran a mile.
I've ran a mile on treadmills before, but that's not
yeah.
the same. Not the same. Not the same.
His big fucking clown feet come out in like basketball shoes, and I was like, "This is a lock." And then he did the first lap. I was like, "Jesus Christ! I hope he torches out quick."
I didn't. I honestly, I brought my headphones because I was allowed to listen to music, but I dropped my phone at the start, and almost instantly I lost music, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm cooked," because I literally had a playlist for 7 Minute Mile,
Yeah.
and then I didn't have that, so I just kept going. I didn't know my time.
I should go measure that track. Not that I think it's like terribly short, but
Was it a high school track?
no, it's just this park down the road from here. Actually,
Look, man, they said 3 laps is a mile. I ran
says-
3 laps.
Yeah, it does say 3 laps is a mile, and like I trust that somebody did something. but also like if I went and actually measured it and it showed up as like 3/4 of a mile, wouldn't be shocked.
Maybe I needed a fourth lap.
Like if you had done it in like 6:20, then I would never like question but he just comes in at like 5:05. It's like, okay, buddy, did you miss a fucking calling here as an Olympian? Like what the hell's going on?
I was cooking. I was cooking on some serious gas.
Oh man! All right, let's do it in the muck and get out of here. This is not going to be a short one either.
Turtles in the muck for being how heavy he is.
That's true.
200 pounds?
You're gonna see a nice lean, clean tortoise
Machine.
come summer.
Tony Horton and tortoise.
Berkey doesn't believe it.
Excited to see those abs. No, because like you're not willing to do drugs. You got to do drugs.
No, I don't. I can do what
I
Jin
did it
did
without
without
drugs,
drugs.
You're
Nuh-uh.
old. You're not lean and mean. You're just lost weight.
I'm saying he
I'm
can
gonna
lose-
look-
he
He
can
said
lose
he's
the
going to be
weight.
lean and mean.
I'm gonna look like Ginge.
No, you're not.
Wow.
He
If
did
you're
a
gonna
lot
look
of
like
drugs.
Ginge, you're gonna have to get on the gear, buddy.
Yeah, he
Not
did a
getting on
lot of
any
drugs.
gear. We do it all natural around here.
Look, I'm with you, but I'm 18 months away from losing that stance.
What do you think I can get to by June 1st?
By WSOP?
Weight wise?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay, weight wise, while I'm working out, so like I'm
I
maintaining
him
muscle.
about-
I just
To-
don't
to
know or
say
care.
fat
I
loss
just don't
percentage,
think
that's
you're gonna have abs.
Okay.
Like I don't think you're gonna be like lean.
Abs are a subjective too.
Well, no, they're not. When you say I'm gonna be a lean,
I have
machine-
abs. I definitely have abs. Everyone in this room has abs.
Yeah, but you can't see them.
But like,
What
yeah,
are you
but-
doing? What are you doing?
I don't know.
He's in the
Okay.
muck, man. I told you.
I'm in the muck.
What are you doing? Trying to make a case that your fat ass has abs because the barrel.
Hey, that's where all the
chub
weight is. He'll let you
fucking
touch it
pushing
after the
through.
podcast. You shut your mouth.
I'm saying abs is subjective.
Sure.
That's all.
Okay. So here we have a
Subjective
situation.
How? You see them or you don't.
Because they just start to pop out. When they just start to pop out, is that abs or is that not?
Go back into your shell.
Okay.
All right. We have a situation. Couldn't put this in, but it is 1-2-4. So there's a straddle. We're 56K effective here with the low jack. I open to 1,000. He calls. It's going to fold around to the big blind or the straddle. We get a dream board here, 6-6-5 rainbow, and we block the only remaining combo of 6-5. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's dreamy.
Now, generally in these early positions, you're just not going to play c-bet, but because this is Bobby's room and ranges are much wider, this is much more, I think, like hijack cutoff type of formation. So I believe we're going to have some bets here. This is a pretty good one to start with. So I go for B40. He's going to raise 3x.
Oh my goodness.
And I get a little chub because it's only pocket fives here, buddy, or I have you in hell. I have some history with him. I think that, he's good enough to be raising over pairs in this spot. He's also good enough to have bluffs. But in any event, I think that when we start with bet, we are going to have some 3 bets in this spot that are like pretty clear. Most of the, I guess, natural bluffs, so to speak, are going to have a lot of equity. And that's all the more reason to drive a 3 bet here. Over pairs can't fold. Open enders can't fold. Even gut shots with overs are going to struggle to fold. So it's like, so we deny equity to like king, queen suited. Big fucking deal. The follow through with that type of hand isn't really going to be high anyway. It's often just going to be checking back on a lot of cards that don't improve it. So I go straight for value town. I want to play an all-in pot. We make it 9,800. He's going to call. Turn, 8 of spades. Interesting card. I think on the 4 or the 9, we have a very clear check. But I think on the 8, because it does, he's just not going to have 9-7 flatting pre or 7-4, obviously. And he's very unlikely to have 8-6 also. So this doesn't really improve anything except for pocket 8s. And we still have a target to shoot at here in pocket 7s, 7-8, 9-8, pocket 9s, 10s, jacks.
Some 6s.
Some 6x that remains. Although, to be fair, it's really only going to be 6-7, I think.
6-7.
And it was always only going to be 6-7. So he has one combo of that. But there's still a lot of 5x that can't fold. Like ace 5 that blocks the
Is it ever like king x of clubs? Or king 6 of clubs, sorry.
I don't think flatting here. No, too wide.
Okay.
If it were later position, yeah. But like his 5X is still going to have to continue at some frequency too, like 5-4 perhaps with a gut shot now. Ace 5 that blocks Ace 6 suited is probably going to have to continue at some frequency. Anyway, my whole point is like he's certainly not just narrowed to value. But because his range is tight, as I'm kind of describing to you, we can't go big. So I don't think this is a 2E spot. I go B40 again.
What's the worst value hand do you have in game?
Worst value. I thought I would have aces here. And maybe I do. Probably more likely to have kings. So I think kings would probably be more prevalent than aces. Although
you guys just play so deep, it's scary.
It is scary because like you just afford him to have a 6, but again, there just aren't like a lot of 6Xs in his range. Like he flats ace 6, he flats 6-7 sometimes, but like these hands also 3-bet sometimes.
Yeah, I mean he still has 9s, he still has 10s that he might flat pre.
Right. So it's like I'm more so treating this like a 3-3-2 board than your average 6-6-5 board, just because of the concentration to like over pairs that need protection from his range that have to pay.
You have good suits as well. Like you don't have the ace-6 of clubs that block his backdoors.
Right.
If he raises those sometimes.
I have good suits to 3-bet the flop, but I probably have bad suits to bet the turn.
Yeah. So then again, I think with an ace and a 6, we're not going to play that many checks here.
Agreed.
Our hand's just so good.
Right.
But I like the size. It just makes sense. I think you did good.
Yeah. I
think you've done well.
And I think it's specific to the 8. I think the 8 and the 7 we get to bet. I think the 9 and the 4 we get to check. Actually, the 7 might even be a check also because of what it completes. But anyway,
he needs to be indifferent with overpairs.
Exactly. That's kind of the goal here, right? So we bet 40. He calls.
Not his hand, of course.
River.
What is this?
Hell.
God.
It's just hell.
Why?
Once I saw the 8 come, I go, Berkey's not winning this.
No, of course not. I wouldn't be in the muck if I just fucking.
Of course. I was like, how could you? Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would if he just only showed up with 5. So this is where it gets kind of tricky because
what do you do?
he has a certain concentration to a 7, of course.
Very few.
I don't think we get the bet. I think like we pretty much have to check range. And I kind of got into a big heated debate about this where
not with me. Crazy.
No, not with you. But I thought that jamming 7s here might be a potential torch because I took 12 minutes before calling my hand, and I think my hand is the only hand that's worse than 7s that can call. I would call all of my 7X, which would be like 6-7, ace 7.
It's so hard for you to have a full house here.
I mean, I have I have one combo of 6-5 suited. I have 3 combos of 5s. I have 3 combos of 8s. Although I don't know how much I 3-bet 8s. I probably don't 3-bet 8s very much.
Right.
I could have 6-8. I mean, I do have 6-8. Let's be honest. I have 6-8 and I have 6-4.
But do you 3-bet the flop with the 6? With
Less.
the weak 6?
Less.
Yeah, it's like so unlikely. I can see why the heated debate. You do have king 6 suited as well.
I do have king 6 suited. Yeah.
You have queen 6 suited.
I would fold king 6 suited, by the way. I don't have queen 6 for sure. But I would check fold queen or king 6, and that's ultimately what I came to the conclusion of.
Maybe you just go for like spicy b10 and then mix the end, like theory wise.
Might be okay.
9s, 10s can call, 8-9 suited for him. Might find a raise and then peel with a gutter.
Landon, why do we think king 6 isn't raising on the flop?
No, it is.
Oh,
it
okay.
is.
I thought you said he
I would just check folded on the river.
Okay.
And I would check if I had a 6 of clubs. I would check fold also.
Man,
I think blocking the combo of 6-5 is important.
Then again, what bluff are you trying to see?
9-8.
Right.
Pocket. I thought here's the problem. I thought 9s, 10s, and jacks would recognize that when I check, they can't win, so they jam. But I'm not confident that that's how it would play out in theory.
Because you might beat ace X bluff for you.
Yeah.
But do you have any that double bear? Not really, man.
I mean, if I do, I certainly follow through on this river.
Like,
you know.
But like if you have ace 10 and you
I can assure you this, regardless of what theory says, 9s, 10s, and jacks will absolutely never win on this river. Because if I have 8-9, I'm all in. If I had taken this line with 8-9 suited, I'm just all in on the river. I'm not going to check.
Because you just lose.
I just lose. Yeah, and 9s, 10s, and jacks will fold.
Wow, what a hand this is.
And my thought process was he might jam more aggressively on river because I probably do show up with aces and kings in this line, and it's almost impossible to call with those hands.
We're hoping he has a gutter that turned a pair and now is like, I'm all in.
I don't think it's hoping. I think it's logical. I think it's a big part of his range.
But again, how much of that raises the flop?
I think a fair amount. Not pure though.
Jury is out. Like, it's very rare, like esoteric bluffs, really. And then there's value. Or like maybe he has ace five suited.
By the same logic, like when you say how much of those hands that are bluffing raise the flop, you can apply the exact same logic to all the 7x. Only 6-7 is a natural raise.
Maybe he has ace 7.
Right, but then he certainly has 8-9. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. Yeah, the bluffs are very narrow, and the value is a little bit wider than the bluffs, I would say.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, which is why I tanked for 12 minutes. And it's also why I would fold a6 of clubs, no problem. The deciding factor for me was that I blocked 6-5 suited, and I only need him to be bluffing half as much as value in order for this call to be correct.
Yeah, that's probably like nice. I think you're right. I'm scared, but again, the machine for imposition will find like spooky bluffs, and like a6 will probably be indifferent. But if you think he has 9s and 10s, like maybe like b10 and then like make the same decision. Yeah,
basically I estimated that he would have three combos of 8s, 3 combos of 8-7, 6 combos of 7s. So we're talking 12 value combos now, and then 3 combos of 5s. So 15 value combos, I need him to show up with 7 or 8 bluffs. So it's like, does he have 3 combos of 8-9? I would think. Does he have 3 combos of 9s, 10s, and jacks? This is where I think I might have lost the plot.
Yeah. It's hard to find those bluffs when you like maybe beat.
Is it though?
Well,
he just knows I have aces and kings here?
But you might chop, like he might think he chops with 8-9 for you.
No, he knows better.
I mean, it's possible,
if he has
right?
2 9s, he just knows I don't have 8-9. And also, I don't think anybody thinks I'm ever checking a 7 on the river.
But again, I guess after the bluff combos, after 8-9, you're hoping he needs to bluff these overpairs, which is a very non-human thing to do.
I would argue, like, in the moment, I felt very, very confident that overpairs would jam.
Like, if someone had 9s, it'd just be, I'm all in.
Because my line is so, like, here's what's not obvious to anybody at home watching, or even the people that I'm playing with, that I have a 3-bet flop range.
But they might think you're being like spooky with like ace queen, and like you tried to bet the turn and you gave up, like the hand's over, you know?
I don't think so.
Like they might think they have some equity.
That's not how live players think. Live players start with the nuts and work their way backwards. So they recognize that I probably have a 6 a lot, and that I overvalue overpairs here. So I can have aces and kings where most people who 3-bet the flop can't.
So I was like, oh, I have 9s, I'm making him fold aces right
now.
Now.
So when we get to the end and they bluff caught twice with 9s, and they look at my range checking, they go, he doesn't have a 7, his 6x loses to a 7, and his aces and kings can just never call this jam.
And this makes the ace in your hand a lot better. Just as
a
card he never bluffs with.
I thought.
Yeah. Man, this is an interesting hand. I mean, yeah, you lost money, but it's cool to think about.
Hold on a second.
I lost some money
we didn't get
too.
to that part yet, so I take it you called.
Yeah, I called.
Yeah.
You lost some money here, but we've learned something.
We lost some money.
I lost some money too.
We might have learned something. So I ran this. I'll show you guys the ranges.
Should have asked for a different river, man. What the heck?
I know. I didn't alter the ranges very much. I just changed the frequencies of some hands. So we ran this for the straddle ranges.
Wow.
My range stayed default. I just widened it a bit. So none of these suited 1-gappers are in there except for 10-8.
What a toxic hand.
But I'm very confident that I opened these. And I rounded up some of these frequencies. Like 10-8, I think, was like half the time.
You should have sold some equity when you flopped trips and got called.
Right. If before 3-betting I could have bought insurance, it would have been a good purchase.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 2s through 5s only open at a small frequency. I think 2s might even fold, but obviously I'm opening these full. The suited 1-gappers don't open under the gun 7, but I'm opening them full. Same thing with like king 6 through king 8. These are like 3rd frequencies, but I went full here. And I think like the offsuit broadways, this is just going to be dependent upon who's left to act. So in this particular game, I'm probably not opening these offsuit 10x, but I will open the jack x here at some frequency. So I went with half. my range, just basically pretty much in line with like a hijack range, I would say. His range, I just took out traps because that's just not how this game plays. He's really not going to flat aces or kings here ever. It's not a squeeze heavy game by any stretch. There's no rake, yada, yada, yada. I lessened his flats with queens from 75% to 33, lessened his flats with jacks from 75% to 50. Tens and everything else is pretty standard. I added in deuces through fives because nobody folds a pair to an open in this game. I increased his frequency of suited connectors a bit. They were only calling like a third of the time. I gave him half. I do think he'll 3-bet these at some frequency. Everything else pretty much unchanged. I increased his 3-bet frequency of ace 5, ace 4. And I also increased his frequency of ace king off. This was calling like 70% or something like that, which again, just in our game, that's not going to happen. But otherwise, this is all pretty much spot on. So I didn't really add much outside of the small pairs. Widened him maybe a pip or two. So I think it was like a 9% calling range. I widened him out to 11. And I think my original opening range was like 18.5 or 19%. So I widened out to 20, just shy of 22. When we look and see what happens here, we do get some bets, which prior to widening the range, I obviously had a range check. When we look and see how this plays out from an equity standpoint, you can see that we're very, very, very close at the top. So this is our 6x distribution, our 6-5, our pocket fives, things of that nature. We both, I have the slight advantage here because I have 6-5 in full. I have fives in full. I have ace-6 suited in full. I think he was 3-betting 6-5 suited half the time and 3-betting ace-6 a little bit maybe. So I have a very small nut advantage when it comes to trips or better. Then the next tier, I have a pretty big advantage here because of the overpairs. So this is like aces through eights. I just have them all in full. He only has queens and under, and then he doesn't have queens, jacks, or tens in full. So you see that there's a big discrepancy in equity once we get beyond the nutted range, and that's what allows me to have bets here. Equity-wise, I'm pushing a little bit. I have 51.8% to his 48%. Realization-wise, obviously, I'm a slight dog here, but I am performing better than position generally yields. So he only has a 5% realization advantage on me, maybe a little bit closer to 6, where we know position is usually worth about 10 on average. So we are doing a little bit better, and that's reflected in the EV and the equity here. So we do get the bet. 40% was the chosen size, so we did good there. You can see that ace-6 of spades specifically is a very, very high frequency bet. Ace-6 of clubs really never chosen. I don't know that I would have gotten that right in game. I probably would have just bet both, to be quite frank. When we look at the response, we can see his raise of half pot here is utilized 16% of the time. So he gets to raise a lot. It's mostly coming from this pocket pair region. Obviously, his 6x is going to play raise here too. And then like Landon said, he's going to have these obscure bluffs like some ace jack, king queen, like a lot of the Broadway type stuff. Ace queen with a backdoor. So ace queen of spades that blocks ace-6. That's a nice one, which we also know he can't have. Same thing with like the king jack of spades blocking my king-6. These are all pretty good. You want to choose bluffs that like don't get 3-bet very often, and have some realization properties against like overpairs like 9s, 10s, jacks, stuff like that.
Again.
So in game, did he choose half pot? He 3x. So let's just do it that way. That way,
Yeah,
I know.
100x.
Up to him.
Yeah, it is up.
All right, let's see what size that gives us. It's gonna be close. I think it's like 45%, maybe. Maybe it is 50. It's always funny when it lags on like the simplest of changes. Right, okay, so it's 44%. So it drives up the raising frequency slightly, but it's mostly just increasing the frequency at which these pairs raise. And you can see 7-7s in there quite often.
Yeah, it's like protection based as well as board coverage based.
Yeah. Now we play a fair amount of 3-bet. Like this is a lot of 3-bet, all things considered. I don't think you're gonna find too many spots where you 3-bet 12%. So I'm really happy I found this.
You're just so deep. You have to get all the money with the 6.
Yeah, and I think people miss that, right? Like you can see my overpairs just get to put in more money. You don't have to play trap.
Yeah.
You know, you just get to go and attack his pair range when you have queens, kings, and aces. Like, these hands are capable of playing an all-in pot on a 6-6-5 board because sometimes you get coolered and you're going to pay anyway.
Maybe. You get to, like, they're probably going to be indifferent once you click. So it's not like you're consigned to playing the all-in pot.
We're not clicking. This is a big raise. 75% pot.
Right. Like, you're not going to play an all-in pot with these hands all the time.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
Once you put in this raise, it doesn't mean you're committing your stack.
Agreed. My point is like they're raising strictly for value sake, and it's because
value protection,
they're capable of playing a very large pot. You can see that like 8s, 9s, even 10s to some degree, the hands that you would think would want to 3-bet mostly for protection's sake, don't. Because protection's foregone at this point. Ranges are getting too narrow. What are you really protecting from other than his bluffs? You know, these actually just become the bluff catchers that benefit from him bluffing future streets. Also, 9s and 8s are going to be blocking some of his most natural bluffs, so you don't really want to start to funnel him to jacks plus type of range.
Yeah, with queens, you make like king 7 backdoor, ace 7 backdoor fold. That's pretty good for you.
Yeah.
You know, even though you're also getting value from, it's like queens like a merged raise. You know, like if you 3-bet queens and they fold, like you're kind of happy.
Yeah.
You're kind of, you're like, you know what? We're done with
so I think I actually went 67%. I'm going to 3x here, and it's going to come up pretty close.
You 3x as well. You said I see your 3x.
Basically,
I'm 3x.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 71%. So I'm in the right realm, and you can see my hand is like almost pure.
Yeah, nice.
So really happy to have nailed this one. Obviously the 8-6. So to answer your question, like it prefers obviously the best sixes. Ace-6, king-6, going to 3-bet the flop the most. I think I find that in game. I do think I'm a little bit wider because I probably c-bet ace-6 of clubs also, and then find the 3-bet with that at a pretty high frequency.
Yeah, your suits are nice.
But with clubs, I might be a little bit more inclined to peel because of the backdoor properties and blocking, you know, his backdoor raises and stuff like that. 8-6, 7-6, these do some raising as well. They benefit just from the fact that you're going to have coverage now on runouts like we saw. So it's kind of important to have these types of hands in there, especially when you're not going to have 8s and 7s. Right?
Yeah, how about king, queen suited?
Yeah, I'm probably not finding that one. I'm not going to lie. I will say that I find bluffs like this intuitively without really looking at this type of stuff, but it's in very particular spots, right? It's like small blind versus cutoff, where I lead, get raised, and just know that his range is way too wide and he's fucking with me. And, you know, it's like a 3-deuce-deuce board type of thing. And I'll find the 3-bet with king, queen suited. Like, I've definitely made that play quite a bit. And it's really good. It's very functional. On the 6-6-5, it's a lot harder to pull off. Because, like, how are you following through on the 4 through 9? Right? It's just like, I check, I guess, you know, and it feels like really scary. Because the interaction with this particular texture is so much different than like a low paired board. But yeah, this one was fun to find in game. So I'm not quite in the muck yet, which is good.
Yeah, he's indifferent. Yeah.
Yeah, now his overpairs are pretty much all pure calling, but 7s exactly is indifferent, I imagine, because it blocks bluffs.
Yeah.
And I imagine it leans on the ones that block 7-6 suited. So yeah, it's going to call 7 of spades anytime it has it. When it has spade club, which actually raises the least amount, ironically enough. That's a pure call.
Spade, club, blocks, all combos of 6-7 suited.
Right, but coincidentally, it raises flop the least, despite having blockers over 7-6.
Yeah, it's more likely that you have a value. Or I have a hand that can continue, I would imagine.
Yeah, perhaps. Okay, so he's going to call, even though he's a little bit indifferent, that's okay. Turn 8 of spades, which 8 of spades I actually thought was like pretty key too, because it frees up all the backdoor 8-9s, which should be in there. So like when we go to the calling range, all of his 8-9 suited's in there. You can see 8-9 of spades is the only one that doesn't raise flop. So like now the 8 of spades coming off is great because we just know he has all of his 8-9 still intact, which I actually thought was like pretty important. And I think that's true. It's less true of the 8-7. All of his 8-7 plays raise at some frequency. So here's where it looks like I get it wrong.
Yeah, scary turn.
Yeah. So it's doing some betting, but not much. And because it's so low, it's obviously going for the larger size of 67% pot. Let's see if it increases the frequency at all when we go 40%. Not much. A6 actually falls out completely when we go for that size. And it's instead going to choose like the 6-5 full house, 7-5 now for pair and open ender.
We probably have to check after we 3-bet to protect our range, where if we start splitting between bets and checks, we're going to want to value bet our 6x and then check our overpairs, and it's going to be too hard to stay like play check call.
Yeah, I mean, in game I would have bet my overpairs, some at least.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, I just think that he's pretty inelastic.
Again, yeah.
I think he's just like pretty inelastic on this particular card. So let's just lock for some betting here. Let's go with 25% of the time. We'll go trips or better.
I guess this is the hard part when it comes to splitting decisions and even just adding a bet itself.
Right.
Like by choosing to bet, you're choosing not to check as well. So now your strategy is going to be.
Yeah. So let's just see what happens when we do a little bit of betting here.
What does the range look like now? He's got you a little. He's got you a lot. Is that what that is?
What do you mean?
Look at the equity graph.
Oh. Yeah. I think that
he ravages you. He's green, right?
Yes, he's green. Why can't I pop this out? There we go.
Oh, he is green. We do not want to bet.
Yeah.
We don't want to bet anymore.
He's ravaging us.
He's ravaging.
And I imagine it's the concentration to like pocket eights, as well as. Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting because he doesn't. It's pocket eights and pocket fives, I guess. But we both have pretty equal distributions of these hands, right?
I think once he peels.
I guess we don't 3-bet the flop with eights is the issue. So you can see like at the top, 8s and 6-5 are the big discrepancy because he always plays them the way he plays them. But we just like never 3-bet flop with 8s and probably not that often with 6-5.
No, it's pure 6-5. I remember seeing
Oh,
this.
it was? Okay.
Yeah. We have 6-5, but we don't have 8s. And yeah, I guess we just have a lot of overpairs as well.
Yeah,
like concentrationally, I think it's hard. I
guess
the
way the range concentrates, you can see that like 7-6 is the same concentration to his range as like aces are to mine.
Like when we bet, we funnel him more, and he's always putting money in with the good hands.
Right.
And a lot of our hands are also now stone give ups, like the 3-bets with the back doors that don't improve.
Yeah,
that's what that bottom part is, I imagine.
Yeah, and you can see like, the concentration of how much 7-6 he has to his range is the same as what we have with aces, and obviously the worth of those hands are very different.
Like again, like we have ace-6, which is worth 42 bigs, is what it looks like.
Right.
And we're still playing check, and it's not because our hand is not worth a lot.
Right.
It's just because our range is whacked.
So what should happen then is we should face a lot of raise when we do this, which I was obviously very prepared for. I would have been happy to face a jam. Oh. So this might be a bit of why we also no, because the ranges are what they are. But I messed up the SPR a little bit. His all in was for full pot, not 88%.
Sure, it's still gonna be all in a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, what I can do is I can go back to this node and just reduce the size a bit. We'll make it 67%, and then that should correct at least enough. But anyway. It's probably not going to change a ton. It's going to have him continue a little bit wider. Maybe we'll get afforded some bets here, but probably not a lot. In any event, like, would have expected to face jam here some of the time for sure. Would have.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
I wouldn't have expected to see a jam because I feel like he has a full house or a 6. It's not really worried too much.
Right. I guess I expected some bluff jamming.
He gets to jam because your range of the bets is so strong. He just gets to cooler you now.
Yeah, which prevents like give ups by me on the river. Yeah. So the bet frequency is still about the same. All right, let's lock for it. So we want to go like 25%. Why? There we go.
At least with tournaments, you get 30 bigs and you're all in, and you just say, "Oh, well, got unlucky."
Right. All right. Yeah, we'll use like the 8-9 as our bluffs. Although it's funny in game, I'd probably just want to check that at some frequency. All right, let's see what his response is here. Again, the SPR is a little bit off, 92%, but okay, whatever. Yeah, 7s is all in a lot.
The ones that block 7-6 suited, yeah?
No, it's spade. Well, yeah, it's 7 of spades specifically. It wants to choose that because it unblocks 8-7, but blocks 7-6.
Is 8-7 bet folding for you?
I don't think it matters. Oh wait, yeah, of course it would matter. Let's see. 8-7. Yeah. That's why.
Okay, so it does matter.
Yeah. So it definitely matters.
Glad we got that figured out.
Right. So yeah, he's playing jam here with like A7 suited, specifically spades.
Yeah.
That blocks A6 of spades.
I think he's just gonna try to make it straight, man.
In real life?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, trust me, there was no part of him that was jamming in this spot.
People don't look at A7 and they're like, oh, hey, you know what sounds like a good idea? Being all in.
But like ripping fives here is definitely a thing.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, protect from the overbow.
Exactly. Yeah. You definitely don't want to be playing rivers in spots where I might not be bluffing very often.
Yeah.
So he does play call, river, 4 of hearts. I imagine I just have to give up. We might correct by checking range here. No.
Look at that. You get to like B10 kind of, B25.
Yeah, the block's there. Let's change it to 10. See what that does.
Look at that. Cute B10.
A6 does a lot of blocking. It might be pure now. We changed it to 10. Yeah.
Close. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I fuck up river pretty bad.
Yeah, you checked. It's mixed.
This is probably just like a block fold. I think the reason why I fuck up river here is because I would have simplified and I would have just played jam or check. And if we look at a simplified version, like all these hands that are choosing 10%, like 8-7, A6, stuff like that, they're probably just going to default to check. Yeah. So this is much, much closer to how I would have played. Jam some ace-8, jam some 9-8. Obviously jam a little bit of 9-7 because I don't ever want him to check back a naked 6 or a naked 7, you know, being afraid of getting cooled off. I probably would like pure check 8-7. Maybe not. Maybe I would switch these. Maybe I would pure check 9-7 because it unblocks. Nah, they both block 8-9. Yeah, I'm not sure how I would have played these two specific candidates. Definitely would pure check 7-6. Definitely would pure check 8-6.
If you had 7-9 and you checked and faced a jam, you probably wouldn't think he's gonna jam a 7.
No, I did. Obviously, I counted the 7x as his value.
Well, I'm saying
I think people
you got in
generally
a
get
heated debate about is it good enough to jam.
My heated debate was I think it's torching because I don't call worse enough. But I also don't fold a 7, and I imagine in theory land I'm supposed to sometimes.
I see. And then you called the 6.
Right. So we check. Let's see what happens when we face jam. I imagine we're going to be indifferent because we were blocking some of the time.
He's probably playing check or jam.
Yeah, definitely no B40s here. God, I wish he would have played 40%. I would have been so fucking happy.
I mean, you might have been all in against that.
No, 7's dominated 40%. So the equities at the top run a lot closer again. It's really the middle of range where like my overpairs are just getting fucking ravaged, and now my ace-6 also getting ravaged. So when he does choose jam, you can see like 7-6 like pure checks back. That's so fascinating to me.
It's hard to get called by worse.
Yeah, and I guess that was my thinking with 7s.
Like with 2 7s, you unblock 6x.
Right, but I just don't have very much of it, I guess. And it's also probably not
your
supposed to
range
call.
just isn't that much.
Okay, so like this is calling a lot more than I would have thought. Like I would have just folded king 6.
You just don't have enough proportionally to do that.
Yeah, I suppose if I like lock to these hands all checking river instead of like mixing, then I could probably start to fold these a lot more. You know, like if I have a higher concentration of 7x and full houses when I check, then I can for sure start. Like if I go back to this node, let's say I don't play any jam.
I mean, this is the whole question, right? Is do you pay a 6 or not? Is it going to make a 7 worth a jam or not?
Here's the, for instance, right? Let's say I play no check. Now he's going to be really tight with his jams. He might not jam 7x all that often.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah,
now.
so now 7s checks a lot, right? 8-7 checks almost pure. 7-6 is pure.
7s only jam if they block 7-6 suited, yeah?
I imagine so. No, the opposite. So it's choosing. Oh yeah, no, it's choosing the 7 of clubs.
Right.
Exactly, the 7 of clubs. So yeah, block 7-6 of clubs.
Yeah.
So now it's going to go all in, and I bet now the 6x.
Mixing
now it calls
still.
more.
Yeah.
Why does it call more and fold 8-7?
Because he's bluffing with a 7, right? Does he have a 7 in his range? Oh, sorry.
Well, it's not a bluff.
No, sorry, it's not bluffing.
He's bluffing because 8-9. It blocks 8-9.
It's with the 8, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I picked the wrong card.
I think this is like too meticulous though, because like we still block pocket 8s, which is real.
It's just his betting range as a whole is either a straight or the 9.
Right.
Then the ace and the 6.
Right. Like you can relock here where if we pure check and we also just have him like pure jam, straights are better.
The ace and the 6 just blocks his full house value and it unblocks the 9x bluff. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
You know, like if he has a straight, he's a straight.
But like now if he just like pure jams all 7x, we're going to start calling it more. Yeah, see now 8-7 pure calls.
Yeah.
Right. And now this is probably reflective of what's really happening.
Yeah.
Now the 6x starts to nearly pure fold. All of your 7x are better, just pure calls.
Yeah, you still get your hand is a good bluff catcher.
Right.
You know, sometimes you get unlucky and they
look
beat
how much
you.
9s begin. So I wasn't wrong. Like 9s now starts to bluff a ton if he's
10s
jamming
doesn't.
if he's jamming all 7x. Right. It wants to have the 9-8.
Well, it blocks 9-7 for you, which if you have.
Right.
Would you check the river with 9-7 though?
I think so. I think I would have just played pure check on this particular river because it's so bad for me.
The turn was so bad for you.
Turn was not that bad, I don't think.
Well, you range checked.
I know, but I think it's because like I didn't scrutinize my check raise range or my 3-bet range all that much. If I went back and like locked for what I actually think I'm 3-betting in game, I'm probably not as wide on the turn, you know. Any event, looks like river questionable, maybe practically just pure fold.
I mean, it's either really good or really bad, and I guess this is like parallel.
Here's the Mark Goon take from this that I think is super applicable, and how you can estimate like what's a good live play versus not. Flop, genius. Turn, skeptical. River,
Bad.
Give up.
Yeah.
Because it's like we did the things that we do that earn us money, which is put a bunch of money in with a really good hand when it's still likely to be good, and then we faced aggression.
You faced it, your hand became no good.
Right. On a card where we think our hand is probably no good, we faced aggression. So it's just like, all right, man.
But then again, like you're not playing the normal 2-5 player pool. You're playing in games where like people will bluff with 9s and 10s.
You would be surprised.
You assumed that he would bluff with 9s.
I did. You're right.
No one in 2-5 is going to look at 2 9s and say, okay, I'm all in now.
Fair.
I have 2 9s.
But 5-10 they would. And also understand that when I say that I think that they're going to bluff with 9s, 10s, and jacks, what I'm really saying is I think that they are going to attempt to execute on an exploit that they feel very confident in that may not actually be true, which is that when I check, I'm devoid of calls.
Like check means auto give up.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Which in practice is probably not true. I probably just have a lot of snaps there.
What you're describing here, I assume, is merging, right? When they look at 9s here and go, okay, this is just, instead of turning it into a hand that has showdown value, they just say, fuck it, I'm going to go with it.
Based off the line work, you have no showdown value.
Right. They don't win.
Am I correct in that you're starting to merge there?
Well, you're never getting called by worse with 9, so there's no merge.
Right. Merging implies that you're winning on both sides of the coin. You're getting better to fold and worse to call.
Yeah.
Right. Like that would be like merging a value hand into a bluff where it wins on both sides. The opposite's happening here. You have a hand that in theory should have some showdown value that absolutely does not. So you're converting it. I would call it converting instead of merging.
Okay.
You're converting it from your value hand into a pure bluff.
Yeah, like bluffing 10s there would be kind of ridiculous.
Probably good though.
Not against you if you're checking range on the river.
I don't know. It depends how much aces and kings I have. I wouldn't have even given it a thought.
God.
I would have snap folded aces and kings so fast.
I mean, people, when they say like, oh, like poker's dead because of solve, but like when you're playing games this deep, like you're never going to have the right answer. You know, like everything's going to be so fragile where they have a few combos. Like if they have a few combos that you didn't expect, if you fold a6, you're torching.
Right. And I almost snap mucked. And then I started to think about it. I was like he's good enough to have 9-8. He's good enough to have 9s. This is why I don't use time banks, man. You just got to think while they're thinking. Think long, think wrong. I truly like immediately speech. I go, I do not think I can call you. And I like picked my cards up to muck. And then I was like, hold on a second here.
Yeah, let's take 12 minutes.
Hold on a second here.
At what point do you feel like you've taken up too much time? You must call.
It doesn't exist for me.
Like if you took 12 minutes and then folded, everyone would be like, "What is your problem?" You know, like. But if you call, it's like okay, like
No, I've earned that. I call so often. Like I've earned a 12-minute fold for sure.
Has anyone in the
People
game
are like
not?
so shocked at me folding after a long tank. I've earned it
You're
for
just
sure.
a payoff wizard.
Yeah, well,
Just pay. Right.
I just paid. I got punished.
It's hard, man. You're in polar spots. So if they bluff it enough, you're good. If they're not, you're bad.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy some of these high stakes breakdowns. These hands obviously aren't what you're going to see in the wild at 2-5 very often, but I like to give a little insight to what's going on in my games. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we go live. Be sure to leave a comment in the description below. Let us know if you made a deep run on a tournament. Would you de-risk? Would you sell off some of your stack?
If you flop trips, would you de-risk?
If you flop trips, would you find that flop 3-bet? Would you give up on the turn or river?
That was so long ago. I can't believe you even remembered that happened.
I'm all over it, man. Let's go. That's going to do it for us. We got a big weekend coming up for Weekend Warrior. I'm going to try to retake the lead over my man Jeff Platt. We'll be back Monday to celebrate a Steelers win.
That's right.
And me smashing a 16 parlay. Let's go, baby.
you try to put belt to ass.
Peace.